All right. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Tomboy Official? Let me clamp on this mic. All right. Ooh. I woke up at like 5 something this morning, man. October, around the 18th now? 17th? I don't even know what day it is. October 17th, 2023. I skipped a day in my head, guys. All right. You've probably noticed that I've been uh backlog posting. Last night yeah. Okay, so I'll put it this way. When you're in the Spotify podcasting app, it doesn't really show you a list of all the stuff that hasn't been posted, like drafts. It has your library of everything you've uploaded, and then it has your episodes that you fully posted. So every so often, when I use the desktop version on my laptop, it shows me all the ones that say untitled, and they're all drafts. And usually when I go into them, there's something already partially saved. Now, the reason that happens is because either I recorded something or partially recorded something or meant to go back to record it, or possibly recorded it and was like, I don't know if I really want to post this, and sat on it for a while and then totally forgot. Or sometimes I record things and then, it just doesn't really upload, or something weird happens with the Wi-Fi. Ah, dang it, I'm on Wi-Fi now. My household Wi-Fi sucks. Um, but it's a little after 6 a.m. right now, so it shouldn't be bad. I feel like when other people are awake and like around and using it, it kind of gets worse. But I try to record on 5G because my Wi-Fi is glitchy, and so if my Wi-Fi situation changes while I'm in the middle of a recording, it just seems like it disappears somewhere into some abyss somewhere, and I think sometimes it comes back and then just leaves itself there. But the ones that are labeled, I'm pretty sure those are ones that I just forgot to post because they're already labeled on my end, and I see them when I go into my laptop. So I've got another whole page of those. So I'm not going to post like 4 or 5 of them. I did that for yesterday and today, or last night and this morning, early morning, like around midnight. So basically, I'm going to take them and do like 1 or 2 per day for the next however many days. Um, if it's significant, like if it's just like bloopers kind of stuff, I don't think so. But sometimes I just don't finish what I'm saying. Like somebody comes in or like whatever, and I'm just not comfortable recording anymore, so I just stop recording. So I don't even know. They might not even be good enough quality, or I might have said something where I'm like, I don't know if I want to say that. Um, but I'm not going back and like looking at them, so I don't really know exactly what's in there. I'm just posting them, so whoops. If it's weird, apologies for that. The quality might not be quite there. I got my heater going because it's like freaking freezing in this house. It's like, it says, the thermostat says like 69 degrees, I think. So I put it to 71, but the bedrooms are small, so at 71, it's gonna get pretty hot. Already taking off my jacket. Um, Actually, let me turn the heater off. I feel like it's kind of too hot now. Let me turn off the heater. I'm afraid to touch anything because I'm plugged in. My charger's plugged into the receiver. I'm afraid to touch anything. Let's see if anything disconnects here. The setup I have isn't getting any better. It's It's portable and convenient, I'll put it that way. But it's not getting any better. Um, like I'm not upgrading anything. Uh, all right. Well, while I'm adjusting the heater, make your coffee, make your tea. If you want to have a beverage while you're listening to this. And that's if I'm posting it early and if you're listening to it early. I don't even know. All right. All right, I put it at 70. Um, Alrighty, party people. Well, I walked about 10 feet away, um, out the door to adjust the heat, and I I don't think the receiver catches the mic from that distance. So, does it say how far? I don't know if it says how far, but anyways, it it disconnected. So I basically took that opportunity to save that little snippet and um, turn off the Wi-Fi. So I'm on 5G now, so I should be fine. I got my phone just kind of steady sitting next to me so that hopefully it doesn't unplug. It's a whole thing, guys. It's a whole thing. This morning's beverage is yerba mate. I've got the Terre mint in the glass bottle. Ordered from Sprouts yesterday, and it's delicious. Usually I refrigerate them, but because it's a little chilly this morning, I was like, let me heat it up. It's kind of weird because it already comes like made. I was like, let me heat it up. I'm gonna heat it up. I'm gonna heat up my yerba mate, my cold yerba mate. Usually it's very refreshing. I like the mint one because I find it to be very refreshing. But I woke up this morning, guys, at like 5 something. I felt good. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've woken up and been like, I actually wanted to like get up at like 5:15 or 5:20 or whatever and start getting to work on stuff. Like I was pretty motivated to record this episode, the upcoming episodes I have. Um, I think today I'll be recording some more of the finance stuff. You guys seem to like that. You know, the queers need money too. Everybody needs money. I hope it's valuable. I'm gonna take it to mean that people are tuning in because it's valuable. So I'm gonna keep going. You guys will soon know every geeky thing that I know. And I'm gonna keep on trying to learn more. There's only so many hours in the day, and I'm working on a lot of stuff at once. So bear with me. It's not a lot of it's not going to be rocket science, but I feel like if people are brand new to stuff, I try my best not to make it all clickbaity and weird. Like the stuff that I'm talking about is real. I try not to be like make like $500 million every hour or whatever. It's like no, man. Like you can make like $50 here and there, $100 here and there. Like I can talk about that. I don't know any get rich quick. Um, I follow a lot of content by Tyson 4D, and he one of his clips or a segment of a video I was listening to yesterday, he was saying something about get rich quick. There's no get rich quick. That doesn't really happen. That doesn't really work. And you see a lot of people talking the talk about how much money they're going to make off of this or that. And you really have to consider, like, where is the money coming from? Like, I started doing this weird thing. If you go on Uber Suggest, if you set up a free trial, you can paste in a website and see how it's doing as far as traffic. You can see where the traffic is coming from. You can see the free version doesn't show you all the gritty details, but it shows you a lot. And I can tell you, there are some people that I follow, or some people that talk the talk, that you never see them showing like their balances anywhere. Even if it's photoshopped or whatever, like you don't even see them showing like their Shopify store, earnings, none of the revenue, none of that. You don't see them showing any of that. You just see them, talking about, they're talking all fast and exciting and like make $4,000 a day and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, okay, really? Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people like that doesn't exist, because it does. Like, it does exist. But I think it's a very small percentage. And I don't want to like discourage people. I don't want to be like, well, it can't be you. It can't be me. I don't believe like that. But I also think I myself have spent too much time getting absorbed in that kind of stuff. And it's like trying to figure out the methods of like how to do it quick and get rich quick. It's like, dude, if I would have taken that energy and just like learned some direct skills and taken a slow approach and just slowly, day by day, just like done a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, I would have gotten where I was trying to go anyways, without trying to like do the get rich thing. And because sometimes when you notice there's something that doesn't have any actionable steps, where it's just like hyping you up and you get the energy behind it and you're all pumped up and you're like, yes, I want to do this. I want my credit score to be like 750 by overnight, and I want $4,000 an hour, and I want a Ferrari in my driveway within 30 days. And then you're just like, what do I do to get there? And then like you realize after a week of following somebody's content, you're like just running in circles. Like, they're not teaching you skills, they're not showing you how to do anything, or you can follow the step by step. And then the one thing I noticed, guys, the one thing I noticed, almost anything you need to make money, you need either customers or you need traffic. And if they're not teaching you how to get customers, like if you're not calling to get customers, if you're not prospecting, if you're not, outreaching to anybody, if you're not, trying to drive traffic to some type of sales page where somebody's buying something from you, whether that's a Shopify store or whatever it is, like something that you have like monetized, like you're like a Spotify music site, or a YouTube channel, or whatever it is that you've monetized. If nobody's going to it, how the heck are you making any money? That's my big question. Because they talk the talk and they're like, yes, you can do all this stuff and set it all up, but what they need to be teaching you is how to get customers, how to get traffic. If they're not teaching you that, then all those other things that they're teaching you are really not going to work. Because if nobody's even just randomly stumbling across your stuff, then how the heck are you getting rich? How the heck are you making any money? How are you making even a cent? I mean, if you think about something as simple as Uber Eats, people are coming to you, right? Like, there's already customers that know, hey, I want food now. I don't want to go buy it or make it or whatever, and I have enough money to afford to pay somebody else through this app that's already set up, that I already have on my phone. So when I'm hungry, I can click a couple buttons and somebody drops off my food eventually. There's a service already in place and the customer is already in need. They don't know you personally. They just know that Uber is a company that's going to get the food to them, and that's all they really care about. Like, but most of us don't have websites set up where it's like somebody already knows you. that you're such a big name brand that if somebody needs whatever, like say if you braid hair or something, or if you cut hair or something, or if you're a personal trainer, you know, it's almost the end of the year, right? So in a couple months, a lot of people are going to have the January New Year's resolution, let me get up in the gym, right? Good for them. Good for them. I try not to knock those people because if you have goals, I mean, you got to start somewhere. You can't just never start, right? So at least they're starting. But if it's like January and everyone's going to the gym, they're going to think 24-hour fitness, Planet Fitness, Gold's Gym. They're going to think of these big names and find a trainer that's already there, right? They're not just going to be like, hey, I know that there's a guy who lives like down the block. Like, if they don't know you and if you haven't been marketing to people and your name's not out there, how are they just going to guess that you are a personal trainer at the end of their block and they could come right to your house within walking distance and you've got a big yard with a bunch of like equipment and everything and you charge by results only and they don't know that, right? I mean, think about it. So I mean, you're welcome. If you're if don't fall into those traps of the get rich quick, waste your time, waste your energy. I think they're good motivational tools. I think they're good brainstorming tools, and I'd leave it at that. You can get great ideas from those types of gurus, those fake guru type people. You can get some great knowledge, some great skill sets sometimes, not usually. A lot of them don't teach skills. A lot of them are motivational speakers. They don't teach skills. Just pay attention to it. If you've listened to an hour of an episode on YouTube where they're teaching you to make $4,000 in an hour, did they teach you anything that you can actually do? Or are they just talking on and on and on about how they got their next Ferrari and how they're going to buy a Lambo soon? It's like, are they teaching you what they're going to do? Are they showing you screen by screen, of the steps that you can take? But again, if you don't have traffic and if you don't have freaking, customers coming to you, then how the heck are you making that money? So those are usually the things that they don't mention. It's like, yeah, if I already have people who know who I am, I could use these skills and people will come right to me. But if I don't have anybody who knows who the heck I am, if I don't even have a website, or I'm not online anywhere, I don't have a business card, or I don't have any service that I'm even providing, and I'm gonna just wake up one day and make $4,000 an hour, probably not gonna happen, guys. It's probably not gonna happen. You gotta have some kind of plan, you know, like that's just how it works. You can't just wake up and it happens. Like, and it's not that people can't make 4,000 an hour, but it's like you have to have something where people are coming to you. Like if you just have crickets chirping, in an online store, you know, and nobody knows your store exists, you're probably not making money in that store. Unless it's a name that just happens to be trending. Like if it's, I don't know, like if you name your store after something that people would naturally Google and put a .com, like if it's something popular at the time, like if you name your store cheaphalloweencostumes.com and it's October, you might have people organically coming to your site because you might start ranking just because your name is like popular, and people are Googling it and everybody's like, oh, it just happens to be the exact phrase or the exact wording of your actual website, and you might just start naturally ranking organically that way. But most people don't have websites that are like that, and most of those domains are taken. But you can do that kind of trend thing. I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much on this episode. I'm kind of like, I'm a little wired. Um, I slept good. I think I slept good. I don't remember if I woke up in the middle of the night last night, but I did take 2 melatonin gummies. I took 10 milligrams worth, so that probably got me energetic. Um, Good sleep and energetic this morning from the good sleep. So I don't want to take two every night though. Um, And I did have a little bit of Delta 8, but it was like a little bit um after dinner. I mostly had it because I was I mostly had it because I was um kind of uh I was I was kind of crashing after the C4 yesterday. So yesterday went good. I I got maybe about an hour of focused work in, which might not seem like a lot, but I mean, I'll go through the whole day. It wasn't just 1 hour, but I got an hour of focused work in until about 10 or 11. I don't know what time it was. It was either till 10 o'clock or till 11 o'clock. And maybe till 11 o'clock because I was close to my snack. I usually have a snack around 11. Um, so let's call it 11. So what I was doing before then, I've noticed, I have a hard time getting organized. Um, and I do a lot of work from, sitting in different places in the house and stuff, but most of the time I'm in my room, and a lot of the times, it's tempting to just like sit on the bed and get things done because it's kind of comfortable. And I was like, I think it's kind of messing with my mindset. Like I'll podcast from just chilling in my bed drinking my tea or coffee or whatever, but I think I need to sit at my desk. And so I started getting back to that yesterday, and I cleaned a little. So I've always got these like clothes. I've got this issue with clothes because like the temperature changes a lot. Like I mentioned, it's cold in the morning, like 69 in this house is cold. Like we have I feel like we have poor insulation. Our windows aren't like too like like the way they open and close, they're a little like there's a little crack, and so like if I like at the coldest times of the year, when I'm sitting next to the wall, I can feel the cold air like radiating off the wall. And the closer I am to a window, it's like I can feel the air. I can feel the coldness next to the window. And so, it just stays pretty cold when I'm just kind of sitting around. Like my desk is near the wall, my bed is up against the wall. So it's really hard. And even in the living room, like our couches are up against the wall, and the window is behind the couch, the back of the couch. And so, it's always kind of cold in this house. Wherever you would be kind of like lounging around, it's pretty cold. And so, it's kind of a weird temperature. And then it gets sunny, and then it gets hot. So, um, I'm kind of cold. That mouse situation, I don't know, man. I feel like it's kind of gross, but I feel like the scent is kind of in my nostrils, so I can't really tell if it's gone or not. I don't think I smell it. It's not as bad as it was yesterday. It hasn't really seeped into my room, so it's kind of contained. Uh, but it's not a pleasant scent. And as the house heats up like midday, it's just, I don't know. Like I can't tell if I can really smell it or not. And I've had like a weird stuffy nose the past 2, 3 days or so. My sinuses have been weird, so I just really don't know what's going on. With that specifically. Um, I wrote some stuff last night. I did a lot of good journaling. More about that situation with that kind of friend. I kind of went and wrote down, some names of people that, I'm still kind of like harping on this whole thing of like, why do I keep you know, unhealthy relationships with people. Um, I mean, it's definitely something I've learned. Like, I know that there are unhealthy people in my family that, I've definitely seen my mom not really be, too assertive about that, and take action and be like, no, I'm not gonna like be around these types of people. I don't know how strong of an impact that has, or maybe it's genetic. Maybe I like genetically inherited something that makes me kind of prone to, keeping those people around. But when I look around at like friends that I kind of like, I wouldn't say I like emulate them, but I'm kind of like I like to kind of observe how other people do stuff in certain areas where I'm like, oh, they've kind of got this together. I feel like this person's got this down, and I kind of try to see how they do it. And I'm like, do they do it in a healthy way? Now, I know some people, I mean, I'm not knocking them, I'm just saying, like, people got to do what they got to do. But I know some people that I think kind of maybe don't have a lot of unhealthy relationships, but maybe they don't have hardly any relationships. And then I know some people that don't have that many, it seems like they don't have that many unhealthy relationships, but they don't, um, um, you know, like people don't have that, that don't have those unhealthy relationships, or at least not a lot of them, or aren't like, you know, having a pattern of holding on to them. Like I've kind of noticed that there are some people like that that, have a good method, it seems, of doing it. Like maybe they'll give people a chance, but, they'll set a boundary about it. And, I've heard friends be like, yeah, this person did this thing and it kind of rubbed everybody the wrong way, and it was bordering on abusive or harassing, and then they're just kind of like never again, you know, or they'll see the person again and be like, oh, they didn't even apologize, or like they were blaming other people, and they're like, that's not okay. So therefore, I'm not going to invite this person to do this or that anymore, or whatever. And that's just kind of where they stand with it. But I am not usually like that. I'm usually like, this person pisses me off, and I'm irritated by them, and then every so often I'll send out an invite or try to like connect and make some kind of you know plans, because the okay, I'm not saying that this is a good excuse, but the way my mind thinks about it is there's good times too. Like I don't know anybody that I've only had bad experiences with, that every single time I meet them it's negative. it's usually it's usually there are some people that I would say that are, you know, it is a pattern for sure, that it's like, some kind of toxic experience when I'm with them, but it's not every time. Like there are those few times here and there where it's not toxic. And so I do focus on those. And it's not that I forget the other ones, I just kind of overlook it, and I'm like, well, this time might be good. It's kind of like a gamble, like a bad gamble. It's like you lose, you lose, you lose, you lose, you lose, and like, oh, but look, I won. I won this time. But then I'm just gonna keep losing until I win. And it's like I'm not really balancing out. Like, am I losing more than I'm winning here? you know? Like like overall, am I at a negative bank balance now? Am I at a negative energy level now? You know, a negative mindset now from interacting with this person on such a regular basis? Or am I, you know, breaking even? Or, is it kind of like above ground, positive? Because, like I say, I mean, I want to distinguish between, you know, with family, with friends, you're gonna have disagreements, you're gonna have arguments, you're gonna not get along on certain things. Sometimes you just have to agree to disagree. But for me, it's hard to find that fine line between when is it a problem, when does it become like this person's toxic or their behaviors are toxic and they're not going to change, and in fact they're going to get more comfortable and therefore it's going to get worse. But yeah, you're still going to have some good times on occasion, but it's not like they have my best interest at heart. It's not like they're like, I've kind of noticed like a pattern. Like, I kind of went through it yesterday, and it's not like I've never done this before. I've been so swamped and busy and like dealing with so many other things. I just haven't had the capacity to like take on more of this style of thinking. So now that I've kind of taken more energy towards clearing these things out of my life, and clearing out the burdens in my life during this year and trying to work on my physical and mental health, I have definitely noticed, at least recently, and then maybe a few weeks ago recently, like there's just these phases more and more often recently where I'm like, okay, I have the energy to kind of like deal with this. But I mean, I can't like fully blame other people because it is me too that's like engaging with them. So, like there is responsibility on me, but I can't expect these people to change. Like I never do. I'm never like, oh, like maybe this time they'll be different. It's not usually that. Um, I don't know. Part of me feels bad for them. And usually these types of people don't have a lot of friends or know anybody. And I've always kind of had like a part of me that it's like, when people don't really have a lot of other people that they interact with, I I do kind of have a sensitivity towards that, and I'm like, I try my best not to just write people off just because they're not popular or because they're not, you know, with it with like you know, I don't know, that maybe they're like geeky or like a little bit obnoxious. Like I try not to just write people off because of stuff like that, because I'm like they can still have good qualities. Like I've got some good friends that a lot of people don't like. Um and it's not because they're bad people, and it's not because their patterns are toxic. It's because, they're just a little socially they just can't really read the room. But they're good people, loyal friends. I've got quite a little handful of friends like that. And then I've got friends that just aren't that way. They're just fine. And like, there's rarely any issues. Rarely. Like, if there's an issue, it's probably because, we're too busy or like, you know, people can't always be what they need to be for each other. And I understand that. And, it's like, I don't think people should fully rely on their friends for all of their needs. It's like, you got to spread that shit out, or like, even if you're not going to spread it out, you got to kind of, you know, have some kind of an awareness of what other people are dealing with. And a lot of times people aren't going to tell you, like, hey, I'm really busy, or hey, I'm really stressed, or hey, I'm really, I had an argument with somebody and I'm just whatever, like they're not going to tell you that. They're just going to, behave accordingly. And then the other party's sitting over there kind of guessing, like, why are they canceling on me, or why are they not doing this, or why are they doing that, like people don't usually always just explain themselves, and so there's kind of this guessing game. But I don't think that's a problem. That's not like a problem. I would just say, at the least, it's like most people don't prefer that, right? Like if you make plans with somebody and you're really looking forward to seeing them, and then they just like cancel the plans and don't really explain why, usually it's like that's not fun, unless you kind of didn't want to go too, and you're like, oh, thank God they canceled, because I was kind of like just wanting to stay home and play video games or whatever. um but I was just gonna go through it because I didn't want to cancel or whatever. But yeah, like most of my friends, I'd say like the majority of them, like when I look around now, I I think there's only one person I can think of that I'm I'm kind of making a decision on. I think they have a good heart, but they're just not necessarily healthy for me to hang around. Um, but yeah, I've kind of like trimmed out all the other people, with the exception of like maybe a family member or two that I can't completely just avoid. Um, but I mean, I can, but I probably won't, to be honest. It's like one of those things. Um, but definitely limiting my interactions. And I'm not the only one. Like, I've noticed usually when there's a family member that's problematic, I am not the only person that knows or sees it and reacts in a way to kind of like, protect my own energy and just be like, I don't need to be around this person. Like, I'll do it cordially, like if it's like, oh, it's the holidays, we have to spend time together, or oh, I had to travel to that area of the world where they live in, and they are gonna be there, like with other people there too that I want to see, like, and I can't just like maybe if it's like a spouse of one of my family members, I can't just like totally like ignore them or whatever. Like I've got to like play the game, but it's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to be rude to people who aren't rude to me, but I don't know. I've said my piece with a lot of people with stuff, and you know, let people know that there's certain stuff that I don't think is okay. Um, and there's a lot of people that I do know, not a lot, but a few family members that I do know that we just don't see eye to eye on certain stuff. There's certain stuff that I find inappropriate or abusive, and poor boundaries and kind of toxic behavior, and other there's those certain people themselves that know how I feel about that they don't think that that's what they're doing. And so it's like, how do you see eye to eye on that? Like, you can't, I'm not going to bend my opinion about that to like please them. Like, I have no need to do that. Because I know that they're wrong. So, I'm not gonna, I'm not even gonna say that I think that they're right. Um, and I'm not gonna say it to their face. If they ask me or if they start acting certain ways, I will tell them how they're acting. Um, but I don't necessarily, I'm not just like always doing that just because it's like they're elders, and because there's only so much you can do, like I got people in my family that are like in their 70s and stuff, and they're still thinking this way. It's like they're not going to change. They're not going to like think that what they did was wrong, or what they are doing to people still nowadays is wrong. Um, they don't see it that way. So that's not up to me to like convert them. So, if they want relationships with people, they're going to have to change, because nobody is trying to have relationships with those people more than what they're like forced to kind of have. Um, and then there's, you know, so basically what I did with this journaling, I'm not going to read it, but I went through and I was like, okay, let me just break this down. Because I've done this before, but not recently. I was like, let me break this down. Let's give myself an update. So I'm like, I've kind of noticed that, like, I was, like I said, like, I was raised around people like mom who was, never, you know, trying to limit or set good boundaries with toxic family members. Um, she just rolled with it, and allowed them to be however they want to be. Um, Never called them on it, nothing. Um, Even still till today. And then, I'm not like blaming my mom. I'm just saying, um, that's something I definitely notice. And then when I think about um, these other people they're completely like their heads are kind of up their butts, like they just don't, they either are too prideful with too strong of an ego to see another person's perspective of how they are, or they just really don't think that they're wrong. They think that the way that they treat people is right. But I want to say that okay, so I made this list of all those people, family and friends, right? And I noticed something that all these people lie about what they do. They lie about the things that they do that are toxic. They manipulate the story so that they always come out the victim, or they just totally gaslight people, right? They lie about it. Like I've heard family members, um, explaining or like recalling stories in which I know there was a toxic situation that occurred where they were like, this person did this to me first. And I'm like, nah, I was there. Like, they never did that. You were just out of control, lashing out at people on your own. Like, people were sitting there, like, this didn't really happen, but it's like, it would almost be equivalent as if people are sitting there, everyone's like sitting around drinking tea, laughing, having a good time, socializing together, and then they just come in and like ruin everything. Like nobody provoked them, they were just out of control. So there's that, where they recall a story that's like, if I was there and I remember what happened, I'm like, that's not what happened, buddy. Or there's other times where um they did something but then they lie about it, so they don't explain the toxic thing that they did. They're like, oh, like I kind of did this thing like accidentally like once and it wasn't a big deal. But it's like, nah, it wasn't accidentally once. It was like every single day for like years, So it's like things like that where you're just like, if you overhear them talking and they're just like lying through their teeth when they're like talking to other people, like I've witnessed, for example, people that I know for a fact that they are abusive towards their kids. But when somebody asks them, oh, like, do you spank your kids? Do you hit your kids? Like, no, I don't believe in that. At the most, there'll be like a lecture and a talking to. They might get grounded. And I'm just like, nah, man, like, I've witnessed you in action, like being abusive. So it's kind of like, I've seen people like that, even like parents of friends, where I'm just like, they will just lie through their teeth about it. And I'm like, you say you never do this, but I've seen you do it more than once. So I don't know what you don't remember. Like, I don't know. So there's either them trying to explain how provoked they were when they weren't provoked, or them explaining that they don't do some toxic behavior pattern that they often do, or the third one is the way that they kind of say their belief, that they have this belief that, what they're doing is justified. And so they'll say like it's okay for people to like hit their kids under the right circumstances. And it's like, do I know that? Because I don't really think I believe that. Like I could maybe understand like a SWAT kind of thing, but anything kind of past that, I'm like, even that is kind of pushing the line, in my opinion. It's like, because most of the time, the way I see it is like, well, why can't you swat or spank another adult, right? You only do it to kids because they can't defend themselves. Once the person becomes older and bigger than you, you're not spanking them anymore, right? Because that's freaking weird. So it's like, that's kind of how I see it. I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like, people want to say this kind of stuff, but I can kind of see straight through it. And I think my mind's getting clearer and clearer on it. Um, but I think I've had certain types of ideas like ingrained in my mind from certain cultural backgrounds that I'm a part of, different minority groups and religious backgrounds and stuff, where it's like people believe in a lot of this like toxic stuff. And so in my head, I've always thought like, oh, it's fine. It's fine if this uncle is that way, or this parent is that way, or this cousin is that way, or this friend is that way, or this neighbor is that way, or this whoever is that way, like I'm just like, that's just kind of how it goes. And then it's like now when I think about it, I'm like, no, that's not okay. It's not okay. But um, so it's kind of taking me a while to kind of get those people kind of out of my life. Just because it's kind of like, I've kind of learned to just be like, like just overlook it. It's not really a big deal. But it is a big deal because it's a burden. It's a burden to have to deal with those people. For me, they cause like setbacks in my life. It's like I'll be having a nice day, and then like I gotta interact with somebody and it throws me off for like 3 or 4 days. You know, um, not anybody, but like I'll interact with one of these toxic types of people, and it's like, well, why do I even have to interact with them? I don't, you know. I don't have to put up with that, like most people I know wouldn't put up with it. So why would I, like, you gotta like cut it somewhere. You gotta, like I'll be nice, I'm never, I don't think I'm ever, unless somebody, like I don't do the gaslighting thing. So unless somebody's gonna gaslight or start trying to be some kind of like, start trying to use their toxic tactics, like I put my foot down with stuff these days and I'm just like, no, that's not okay. And I'm not talking about like you have a little argument with a friend or a family member, or you have a little disagreement or somebody like annoys you. Like that kind of stuff, I don't really care. I'm just like, whatever. Like it happens. I'll be annoyed and then maybe a day later I'll wake up and I'll be like, whatever. Like I don't have energy to like care, like I'm not gonna like harbor some kind of resentment over like some stupid little situation. But I'm talking about abusive people. I'm not talking about, the obnoxious person or the person who just doesn't do things the way I want them to do it. I'm talking about abusive people, toxic people. So what I did was I put this list together of people that are toxic or have been toxic in my life, and then people who are not toxic in my life, who are just the opposite, you know. And I noticed like a very specific difference, and exactly like I explained, those three categories. With those three categories, none of the healthy relationship people have any of those kind of things. They don't they don't, mislead a story to kind of like always make themselves look like they were provoked when something went wrong. They don't always, and I'm not saying like, people can have like a skewed opinion. Like when you're mad at somebody, I mean, because everyone does this, right? It's like when you're mad at somebody, it's hard to see like your own fault in it. Like if somebody is like doing something and it kind of like rubs me the wrong way, and I'll be like, oh, like I can't believe that person did such an insensitive thing, you know, and if I react to it, they get a little upset that I reacted negatively towards them about it or something. I mean, it's kind of like dramatic, but I don't, this kind of stuff doesn't happen all the time, but I'm just saying, like, if it is a rare occasion where something like that happens, I'm probably not going to be able to easily see where I went wrong right away because I'm so mad at the other person. But, that fades quickly. And then it's like, then I can be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that or said that in that way or whatever, like after the fact. Sometimes it's hard to like catch it while it's happening. But it's like, well, the way I see it is like, well, if you already have a healthy relationship with somebody, um, and there's some kind of disagreement or, something is going a little bit wrong in some way, it's like something happened, either it's on my end or it's on their end. It might not be between the two of us. Like maybe they just had like a shitty day at work because their boss was acting like a jerk, and then I happened to be talking to them about some other thing, and I just kind of noticed their attitude or whatever. But this didn't even happen in real life. I'm just saying, like, um, I don't know, but I don't know. Like, I don't think I usually have that many problems with with most people. It's just those toxic ones. Like, and as everybody knows, I've lived with them. I've stayed living with them. I didn't even like budge. Like, and so I mean that's on me. But you know, I do realize that the unhealthy people don't take a healthy approach. As far as the way they express or explain or kind of recap on things. There's a lot of lying, a lot of gaslighting, and it's hard to tell if they perceive it differently, but I think they're lying because there's no way that they come out on top of every story how like everybody's always wrong and they're always right. And especially if I've noticed because it's stuff that I've witnessed, and so it's been like certain bosses, certain housemates, certain, and then I've also noticed that a lot of times they do these things like in some kind of secrecy. They're not like openly out and proud about like what they're doing. They're doing things, and they're kind of there's like a secrecy behind it. They're like they don't want to be too forthcoming because they know that they're wrong. You know, um, you know, uh, and they always kind of sense something. Like I've noticed something that I've noticed is every single one of these people has gone out of their way multiple times to tell me how they think that I'm nice, to tell me how they think that I'm a calm person, to tell me how um they kind of like try to explain how they like my personality and that I'm calm and you know I don't really make a lot of waves per se. And I think those types of people prey on that kind of stuff because they see it and they're the only ones I know that kind of mention it all the time. It's not the other people who are just like trying to be friends and trying to be friendly and just have a good time and be a good family member. It's those people that are always pointing it out. Bosses too. They're always pointing it out. They're always like, "Why are you, I notice you're always like this." And it's like they kind of go out of their way to say it a lot. Like when I think about it, I'm like, well, why would they say that so much more than the other types of people? Because they notice it, they recognize it, and then there's something else that they do in turn on their end. And so it's like, they react to it in a certain way. They try to take advantage of people that are like that, and so I've kind of that to me is kind of like a red flag, like not from friends who are just like trying to like compliment you, but it's like when there's the people that have these like patterns of like the gaslighting and the like everybody's gonna like lie about something on occasion, or try to make themselves look better on occasion. Like people do that with breakups. They're like, like that person was like crazy, or they were like, you know, doing this or that. But it's like, well, clearly you guys stayed together long enough for some positive reason. It wasn't like negative 24/7, like you just eventually cut your ties, and now, out of the anger and the hurt, of course you're going to have the negative stuff to say. Nobody's going to be like, oh, I broke up with this person because it was like such a great relationship. You're usually going to say the bad reasons why the breakup happened, right? Like, so that's kind of how I'm seeing it. And I kind of broke it all down into like these categories. Like it's hard to explain because I was doing this. It only took me like 30 minutes. But yeah, I kind of made this organized explanation of like, you know, why I probably keep these relationships around. Like, I do feel guilty for kind of like pushing people to the side, but I don't think I should. It's just something I'm gonna have to just ignore, because that gut feeling is definitely wrong. Um, I think it might be something I learned in religion. It might be something that I kind of took on in religion because I have always had, I don't know if it's like natural or if it's from religion, but I feel like I've had this kind of um I can't tell if it's part of my nature or if it's something I learned, but just kind of like, I don't know, like I don't think I look at people the way that most people do. Like that's how I was able to have clients and things. Like when I see a client walk through the door, it's like I see the pain, I see that they need help, and I kind of see, I don't see everybody like that. I'm not like, oh, I see the pain, but I can tell when people are doing things as a reaction to their pain and their trauma and things like that. I can tell. And a lot of times these toxic people are reacting because of their trauma. And I noticed that. And I noticed that they have, if it's not even trauma, they have some other issues with some other kind of disorders that aren't really being easily managed, and all the narcissism and all that kind of stuff. Like, and I see that and I'm like, this person needs love in their life, and they need someone that cares about them. I don't have to be that person, but I can definitely sense that in people. And I think, I kind of got to be careful with that and not be like, oh, well, I sense this, therefore I have a duty to this person. I don't have a duty to fucking anybody. Um, especially the unhealthy people. Like, I don't have a duty to that. Um, I think my duty is don't make it worse. That's the only duty I have. I don't think I have any other duty towards them. I don't have any duty to allow them to interfere with my life. I don't think that. Or to allow them to be around other people that I care about and have them interfering with their lives. Like, think I have, um, I don't think that's accurate either. So, um, I don't fully remember all the other stuff I wrote down, but those were like the major points that when I did this kind of compare and contrast with like a list of names, I was like, oh, these people all have this other stuff going on that these other people don't have going on. And I kind of put like a strike through of all the people that are kind of like out of my life now, that I will not turn back and be giving multiple chances to. And then the people who are still toxic, but they're still around, um, I'm just gonna have to keep up with the boundaries with those situations. But yeah, all the other people, um, just are pleasant. Like I feel like most people that I know, like 99% of the people I know, like I get along fine with them. It's just a select few. Like even the whole time I've been podcasting, like I've had four roommates, housemates that have been causing the majority of the issues in my life. Maybe like two or three family members, but usually it's one of them that I'm in contact with more than anybody else. So really it's like five people, 5 to 7 people, and then like an eighth person that I tagged on the end of that list. But I know a lot of people, so it's like that's really not like in the scope of all the people I know and all the people that I make plans with. I have at least that many people on the other end that I make plans with on a very regular basis that are perfectly good friends that I keep in contact with on a pretty regular basis, and we get along fine. Like we might not see eye to eye on things. There's plenty of room to be far apart on, you know, our belief systems and things. Like I think we all just care to not make each other's lives worse, and if we accidentally do, we can apologize and try not to do it again. But, I think that's the difference is the ownership. Like people who can't take ownership for their own situations, or at least try to be better, that's a whole different kind of person than the people who are like, oh, I didn't notice that this was getting in people's way, and then apologize when they notice it, or at least, even if they don't apologize, at least try to do better, in a way that people like see the results, or at least talk about the struggle of it, but, because everybody, I think, has like automatic issues where it's like they just automatically do things that somebody out there is just not gonna like, or isn't gonna be pleasant for them, but I feel like not everybody's toxic, not everybody has poor boundaries, not everybody's abusive. um yeah, and in my life, like I said, I've identified like maybe 8 people, and really there's only maybe 3 of them left, 4 of them left in my life. One that's a non-family member, one that's a closer family member, and 2 that are kind of at a distance. So really, it's one person that I kind of am gonna have to deal with on a more regular basis, and then 3 other people that I really don't have to even talk to or see or interact with, um, for the most part. Uh, one of those people I'm still questionable. One of those people I think just has a lot of, it's just health issues, guys. It's health issues. It's trauma. It's physical, mental health issues. I mean, just people that don't take care of their health and just don't learn how to do it. I don't think that they're going to be forming the best of relationships with people. Um, and you know, just like my rabbi friend said, they become an infection. It's like literally, it infects your brain. You're just like stuck with that, But this is coming up on the Spotify's hour limit. I think it's foggy this morning. Um, but yeah, that's where I've kind of gotten. I gotta look out for people like that because I meet so many people, and I've always enjoyed meeting people, and I kind of wondered why in the last few years I've not had that joy anymore. And I think it's because I've made, a few toxic relationships through the household that I lived in. But now that I'm not going to be in touch with any of those people from that house anymore, it's almost going to be like it didn't exist. Hopefully, I was holding on to one, and I just think it's just not going to be worth it for me. Like, to be dealing with somebody that needs, like, it's more like they need more from me than what I can give them. That's mostly what it is. And if I don't give them what they need as far as the attention and the energy, then they try to, like, bait me into doing it by like being kind of critical at, like, they'll like question my friendship or be like, oh, you're not being like, why aren't you, like, basically the way I hear it is, why aren't you catering to me? Why aren't you giving me energy? Give me energy. And I'm just like, fuck, I'm busy, you know? Like, give yourself energy. Like, you don't need, like, we're not even dating. Like, it's like I don't owe you anything. We lived together once, like, that's kind of how I see it. So, you know, I don't really have energy for any of that. Like, it's not really like a give or take, like, they never ask me how I'm doing. They never seem to care. They're just like, oh, like, I need this. I need your help on this. I need you to, like, validate me on this. And it's like, if I say that I don't have the energy to do it, then that's a problem. It's like, most people would understand that. Most people are like, oh shoot, sorry, like, you're busy. Like, hit me up when you're less stressed, or hit me up when you're not busy. Like, that's the end of that. Like, you don't have to, like, go more to that. That's not like, most people aren't going to start an argument because you don't want to listen to their problems. Like, So I'm just like, I don't have the energy to listen to your problems. Like, you should probably talk to somebody else about it, but I don't know. I think I have every right to not listen to people's problems if I don't want to. So, and they think otherwise. They think that I should be obligated to listen to them as their friend, and I don't think we're gonna see eye to eye on that. And we both said our piece, and that's how that's gonna end. But I mean, there's more to it than that. But you know, uh, but anyways, um, I think for my day to day, I've definitely got a lot that I need to get to. Um, but yeah, overall, I really want to distinguish. Like, I'm not talking about like everybody I know. Like, um, um, the people who I'm just avoiding, um, are people that I'm avoiding. So if I'm still in any kind of communication with people, then that means that I'm not avoiding them. So that's where that lies. But I mean, I gotta do what's best for myself. Like, there's no other way to do it. Nobody else is gonna do it. Nobody else is gonna like go through my phone and delete the numbers of the people. Nobody else is gonna, go talk, have a stern talking to those people. Nobody else is gonna do that. So, you know, I I don't really get anything out of those relationships. Like, they've done nothing but get in my way. They get in the way of my energy. It takes me a while to kind of like come down from getting in these little tiffs with them and having to deal with the energy it takes to be like, what did I do wrong? Or like, how can I fix this? And how can I resolve this? And having these long, lengthy ass conversations about how are we going to fix this? It's like, no, I don't want to fix it. Like, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. Like, I'm not going to fix it. Like, I'm not going to fix it. Like, if they want to go fix it, fix the thing that they're dealing with. I think I'm plenty patient with people. Um, I think I'm plenty patient with people. I do. Like, I forgive easily, like very easily. I get a little irritated easily too, but I forgive people easily. Like, I usually, honestly, like, usually past one day, unless it's a toxic person, usually past one day, I'm usually not even mad about something. And usually when I'm mad, it's because I'm already irritated to begin with, and I just have like a short fuse because of, you know, because I've already had some other things going on that I need to kind of take care of. And so usually that's what it is. Like, usually I'm not easily angered by people. Most of the relationships I have with people are pretty great. Like, I don't usually have like, you know, the majority of people that I'm around, you know, just being like not good people. Like, it's just a select few people, and now it's even less people at least, and it's probably going to be even less um pretty soon. Um but it takes a lot of my energy, and I'm like, I was wondering, why don't I have energy? Why have I not had energy for like such, like, I've been talking about this, is like my energy is like weird. It's all over the place, but it's like I'm constantly communicating with these people. And that's probably half of what it is. Like, it interferes with my sleep. I'm just like, you know, like, there's only so much you can do. And I'm big into problem solving and analyzing things. And I'm like, there's always a solution. I can fix it. I can fix it. But it's like, you can't really fix other people. You can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. You know, I know that, but it's like, I would like, I kind of have this wishful thinking of like, if only, if only, like, this could be so good if they could just get their shit together. But sometimes people just won't. And I've got my own problems. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just saying, like, you know, like, I don't want those people really interfering with me anymore. Like, it's not. it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna help me reach my goals. So, you know, if there's somebody getting in my way that's not gonna help me reach my goals, like, I mean, I'm not saying people need to actively be like, oh, like, here, like, do this next and this is your next step. But it's like, if they're not supportive and they're trying to put down what I'm trying to do or get in my head about it, or if they're trying to kind of interfere and take what little energy I have for their own emotional needs, and don't really understand that I'm not trying to spend my energy, healing their problems. I'm not that person, that's going to be there to heal everybody's problems anymore. If you need that, go find it somewhere else. Go get a therapist. I'm not that person. Like, I'm not going to help with that anymore. Um, and that's that. But yeah, yesterday went really good overall. I would say, I did have some trouble focusing in the morning. But I think it did help to kind of clean. I didn't really clean my desk. I just moved all the crap away and sat at my desk and started working at my desk. It kind of got me a good mindset. I listened to Hindz, Hindz. I had one of his videos playing in the background. I put my phone on the other side of the room. Now I did have to get to my phone because I had to set up a Stripe account for this blog and all this other nonsense. And so I had to get my phone for the authentication process and logging in and all that, because all my passwords are saved in my phone, but they're not really saved on my computer. um and so yeah, I spent till maybe like 11 yesterday, and then I kind of lost focus. Once I took a bathroom break, I totally lost focus. And so I was like, okay, maybe I'll take a longer break. And so I turned on an episode of something, and then in the background I was kind of like half-ass applying to jobs. I put the applications in. So what I'm gonna have to do today is go back and like, you know, um, engage with those people and say, hey, I sent you the resume. Um, and so I'll do that around 11 today again. And then yesterday around, like, after I did that for almost an hour, I had a small lunch. So for breakfast, I just had, and that's probably why I couldn't focus, because I didn't have a good breakfast. I had a little bit of oats and a peach. So I didn't really eat all the oats that I made yesterday, and I had a peach. And then for lunch, I had the leftover Peruvian food at like noon, because my Instacart delivery was taking a long time. So I had, that fish with the what do you call it? Dang, I'm blanking on the name. Oh, with like the onions and the fries and the rice and the tomato and green onion and the sauce. It was just a little bit, but it was enough. Like, I was like, I don't want to overdo it on my eating. And then so I take a longer lunch break. So my lunch break was from like noon to maybe like 1:30 or something. Then I had some C4 around 1:30. It was maybe about a third of a scoop worth. So I had that, and then um I worked out for like about an hour. I did about 30 minutes of yoga, minus a couple minutes, and then about 30 minutes of just like curls and just calf exercises and arm exercises and shoulder exercises. Just mostly upper body and a little bit of engaging core. Um, I was just standing in front of the fan doing it. Um, but it helped. I mean, like, I'm kind of good at like slow exercising. It just takes longer, but I don't get injured. Like, I feel totally fine today. Like, had a little mild bit of a pump, this morning when I woke up. I was like, how you could feel your muscles kind of like flex, and I was like, oh, like what happened? Like, that was weird. So whatever I did yesterday worked, at least enough to feel it today. Yeah, it helped my energy. I felt a lot better yesterday, but then it was just a little pocket of time where I had this crash from the C4. That wasn't pleasant. So basically, after I worked out, I got back on my computer for a couple hours while I was, drinking my protein shake. So I think I worked out from about 2 to 3, and then from about 3 to like 4:35 ish, maybe 4:45 or so. I got some work done, and then um, I what did I do? I kind of just cleaned up a little. Like, I didn't like totally take a shower yet. I just cleaned up a little, and then I went ate. We had black eyed peas with some veggies in there and that smoked flavor. I can't really eat those kielbasa sausages anymore, but we were gonna have that in there. But instead, I just made a side of like macaroni and put a little bit of spam in it, a little bit, like a thin slice, because I felt like the black eyed peas weren't enough. It was like a half of a little bowl, and so I was like, this isn't probably gonna hold me. And like I said, I had a small lunch and a very small breakfast, and so I used the calories yesterday. I was like, I could use more calories for dinner, which was fine. So I feel like yesterday I didn't quite overdo it. Like, the instant macaroni wasn't like the best decision, but considering that I didn't really eat a lot yesterday, I don't think it's really gonna like harm me that much. I didn't have any snacking, but when I started, oh, and I had like half of a granola bar, and then when I started, um, coming down from the C4, that's when I started feeling a little unpleasant. But it wasn't that bad because I didn't have that much of it. But that's when I had a little bit of the Delta 8 edible. And by that time, I don't know what time it was. It was like, I don't know. I don't know what time it was. Um, uh, I'm kind of blanking on what I did at the end of the day yesterday because I know I did some journaling from like 6. What time did the sun go down? Like 6:18 or so to about 6:48 or so. About 30 minutes right before 7 p.m. And so, yeah, I did that. So I think I took the edible a little before that. And then from there, I think I took a shower around 7. I don't remember. I did my like teeth brushing routine and showering and stuff pretty early. Um, and then like by the time it was like 7, I was like, well, I got a couple hours. So that's when I started like, backlog posting all those freaking episodes because I was still getting work done. I was still online. So um, I did that from 7 till about almost 8. And from 8 o'clock, I was gonna go 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Let me watch something interesting. So I went to watch that movie Antitrust. I got like 20 something minutes in. It took me, I was texting some friends back and forth for like a half an hour around 8 o'clock, and then, um, yeah, like from like 8:30 to 9 ish. I wanted to get offline around 9, like lights out around 9, but I pushed it to like 9:30, and then I had the melatonin, the two gummies, and I had already been kind of like ready for bed and stuff and like unwinding since like 8 o'clock. So it was a pretty good day overall. I did everything I wanted to do, everything I needed to do, but the direction it's taking for today, I've got a lot to do today. I've got a lot more podcasting to do today. Uh, I've got to put out some of the financial related video or episodes today, and then I've got to eat breakfast. I'm gonna make a good breakfast today. Um, I got some salmon, so I'm gonna have some salmon, maybe half of a piece of salmon, and some eggs. Um, I haven't had eggs in a while, so I'm gonna make some eggs. Um, I think for lunch, I'm gonna have more salmon. Um, but I might just have eggs. I don't know. I might make a big breakfast today because I feel like it. Um, I've been really lazy with my breakfast lately with my food. Um, but yeah, I feel like I want to make a good, delicious breakfast this morning because I've been off to a good start. So that's what I want to do. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'll probably have a little energy crash from that, but um, maybe that's when I'll work on job applications during the energy crash. So, man, all right, guys. So, yeah, I went way over, but I wanted to describe more details about my day yesterday and today. I think I learned a lot, yesterday and did a lot yesterday, even though it was like slow. Everything was like in slow motion, but I was getting it done. And I've got like a weird work rhythm because like I like to eat and snack at certain times of day. I've always been like that because I like to be up early, and so I like to have a snack around 11 because I'm usually up early, and I usually eat breakfast around 8. So for me, waiting till like almost 1 o'clock is kind of late. But 12 o'clock is early for lunch for me, but I don't know. Um, but yeah, so early, and then um, so yeah, I've got a lot to do online today. I kind of wanted to do deliveries today, but I just don't. There's something about my gut that's like, don't really drive that other car right now, you know. We waited a day to take the car to the mechanic, so we're not going to take it till later today. Um, so the Murano I don't really have, so I have the old 2001 Aurora. So I gotta go take that other car today. Oh, they're gonna charge a fortune because usually they need two tires and then they want to align things. They might even need four tires and then the alignment and then the charge for like delivering the brand new tires and then the charge for the warranty on top of everything and then the labor. I mean, it's gonna cost a fortune. Um, just for some freaking tires, man. But I mean, that car's got other problems too, but we're just focusing on the tires for now. Um, but it's giving me time to be, online. So I'm gonna try and get everything situated from this online stuff today, and then yeah, definitely cooking, eating a lot today. I got some good groceries yesterday, so I'm gonna have some pretty healthy food options today. And then yeah, um I'll see. I think I'll be able to work out later today. Same as yesterday. Same time as yesterday. I don't really feel sore. I do, but I don't feel so sore that I don't think I can work out. Um, and then yeah. So I kind of like how yesterday went. I'm a little surprised that it went so well, even though it was like slow. Just doing everything slowly, doing things at my own pace, that really helps. Because I was able to get a lot of clarity on things yesterday. Uh, Basically, I'm just trying to rank a couple sites right now. And I'm also like studying competitors, and so I kind of noticed certain things that they're doing. Uh, but yeah, okay. So let me get off of this episode. I got some other stuff I gotta record, and then with that, thanks for listening.